Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be looking at the methods available in the Java Math class. There are 10 methods which are part of the ICSE Grade 10 syllabus mentioned on the left, and we'll be looking at how to solve output-based question based on these methods and also how to convert mathematical expressions to Java expressions using these methods. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's get started. Now, first method, Math.round. Okay, what is important in the output-based question is the actual value and the data type of those values also. So I have arranged these methods in the order that the first method over here, Math.round, will always return data type int. Okay, Math.round, you can consider it's a whole value, it's a round value. So the output of Math.round function will be data type int. Okay, so let us look at Math.round now. Math.round returns the value of the input parameter rounded to the nearest integer, and this follows the mathematical rules that you have been learning throughout your academic years. The return data type, as I mentioned, Math.round return data type is always int, and the syntax is Math.round, and it takes one parameter. Now, math is the class, and all these methods, all the 10 methods over here are static methods. That means we call them directly with the class name. And remember, M has to be capital. In Java, it is a convention that class names start with a capital letter, and Java is case sensitive. So lowercase m is different from a uppercase m. So the syntax is math.round, and in bracket we pass a number. Now, how do we decide the output of these numbers? Let's draw the y-axis, and I've taken a set of positive numbers and a set of negative numbers. Now, between 5.5 to 6, any number between in the range 5.5 to 6 will go up. Okay, so that means math.round 5.5, answer will be int. So answer will be 6 as an integer. Math.round of 5.9, which is here, will go up and find the nearest integer. Okay, so the nearest integer is 6. So that will be 6. Now, if we have a look at negative numbers, anything in the range of minus 5.5 to minus 5 will also go up. Okay, it will go up and find the nearest integer. So in this case, if I do math.round minus 5.5, and if we go up, we find that the nearest integer is minus 5. If we do math.round minus 5.2 or negative 5.2, minus 5.2 will be somewhere here in between these two. And then if we go up, the closest integer that we find is minus 5. Okay. Now coming to range of values between 5 and 5.5, okay, or up to 5.4999, those values will be rounded down. Okay, those will be taken down. So if we say math.round 5.4, going down and finding the closest integer, answer will be 5. Similarly, for the negative side, anything from minus here 5.6 to minus 6, those will be taken down, the downside. So here it will say minus 5.6, closest integer will be minus 6. Minus 5.8 again sits here, go down, closest integer will be minus 6. Okay, so math.round will find the closest integer either upwards or downwards based on this cutoff value of 0.5. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Moving on, the next three sets of functions, min, max, and absolute, okay, or I acronym them as MAM, which is max, absolute, and min. Now here, for these three functions or these three methods of the maths class, the return data type depends on the parameter. Fine. As I told you, for math.round, the return data type is always int. For these three functions, max, absolute, min, the return data type will depend on the parameter. Now we'll see how does that depend on the parameter. Let's first have a look at math.absolute. What does math.absolute? Returns the absolute value of the input parameter. What is the absolute value? Whatever number you give, it will give you the positive number after that. Okay, and removes the negative sign. Return data type is always going to be the same as the input data type. So as we said, it depends on the parameter. Return data type is same as input data type, and the syntax is math, as we mentioned, with a capital M dot abs is the function, and in bracket we pass one parameter. Okay. So math.absolute 5.5, there is no negative sign to be removed. So answer will be same 5.5. If we say math.absolute minus 5.5, what are we saying? Output is a positive number. So we just make it 5.5. Okay. Math.absolute 5, if we give an integer, output will be an integer 5. And if we say math.absolute minus 5, again the input is an integer. So the output will be an integer, but the negative sign will be removed in this. Okay, so in math.absolute, just remember same number as it is, just without the negative sign. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Moving on to math.max. Now, math.max returns the maximum from two input parameters. Some people make a mistake here by passing more than two parameters. Do note, math.max cannot accept more than two parameters at a time. Okay, so here, if the parameters are of mixed data type, okay, they are converted to the bigger data type, and then that becomes the output data type. Okay, so the return data type is always the data type of the bigger data type. Okay, so here your implicit conversion and explicit conversion should be clear, or we'll clear those things now as we go. What is the syntax? Math.max, and in bracket now we always have to give two parameters. We are finding the maximum from these two numbers, x and y. X and y could be integers, or they could be double, or they could be int and double mix. So let us have a look. Here what we are doing, math.max 5, 6. Now in this case, it is easy to decide what is the maximum value. 6 is higher than 5, so the output will be 6. Data type, both data types are integers, output will be an integer. Math.max minus 5 and minus 6. What is higher? Minus 6 has lesser value than minus 5. So minus 5 is the higher value here. And it is integer. So the output will be integer. Both numbers are integers. Output will be an integer. Now we have a look at an example where one number is an integer. So here 5 is an integer and 4.5 is a double. Now, in this case, before we do the comparison, okay, math.max says I cannot compare an integer with a double or an apple with an orange. So it will convert both to a same data type. What is a bigger data type? Double is a bigger data type than int. Okay, so it will become 5.0. 5 will be converted to double by implicit conversion. It will become 5.0. And this number remains as it is 5.0. Now, which is the higher value among 5.0 and 4.5? Higher value is 5.0. Okay, so many people make a mistake here and write 5 and then they lose a mark. So please make sure that before doing the comparison, convert both of them to the same data type in math.max. Similarly here, math.max minus 5 minus 4.5. One is integer, one is double. So first what we will do is we will convert them both to double. Okay, so it will be minus 5.0 and minus 4.5. Now, which is a higher value in this? Negative 4.5 is higher than minus 5. So the answer will be minus 4.5. This case, both are double. So we took an example of both integers. Answer will be integer. Mixed integer and double, answer will always be double. Remember that. Int and double, answer will be double. And if you have both numbers as double, then it is easy again. Answer will be a double. In this, the higher value is 8. So I hope that is clear. Now, math.min follows the same principle as math.max. Only thing, it returns the minimum from two input parameters. Exactly two input parameters have to be provided. If the parameters are of mixed data type, then all parameters have to be converted to the bigger data type, and the return data type is of the bigger data type. Okay, syntax is math.min, two parameters. So that's why I put x, y. Same, we'll see examples with both integers, math.min. Both are integers, 5 and 6. The minimum value is 5 in this case. Answer will be 5. We say math.min minus 5, minus 6. Lower value over here is minus 6 and both are integers. So output remains as minus 6. Math.minimum 5 and 4.5, as I mentioned in math.max. First, if there is an integer and a double, please convert both the numbers to a double. So 5.0 and 4.5. And then the minimum value is 4.5. Math.min minus 5 minus 4.5, converting. One is an integer, one is a double. So we convert this to a double, minus 5.0 and minus 4.5. Now the lower value is this 5.0. Answer will be minus 5.0. And if both are double, then again output is a double, and we just choose the minimum value here, which is 4.5. Okay, so we have looked at three functions: min, max, and absolute, where the data type of the output depends on the parameters. Just summarizing, if both are integers, answer is an integer. If both are double, answer is a double. If one is an integer and one is a double, the answer will always be a double. Okay, because the integer gets converted to a double before the comparison. Fine. Okay, so just take a 2-minute break before we move on to the next 6 functions in the methods of the math class. Okay, moving on. Now the 6 methods. These 6 methods always return double. So remember that whatever you do the calculation, finally put a point something. Okay, remember that these 6 methods will return a double value, that means a decimal value. Okay, many students calculate the value correctly but forget to mention it as a double data type and hence lose their mark over here. Math.round returns an int. Min, max, and absolute depend on the parameter, and the remaining 6. So now you just remember, if you remember the first 4, then anything else that is asked, remember that the data type will be double. Okay. So let's start first one with math.pow. Math.pow actually stands for math.power, which means returns a number raised to the power of another number. Return data type, as I mentioned, is now going to be double for these 6 methods. Syntax is math.pow. 2 parameters it takes: the first base value and the exponent value. Okay, so let's look at the example. So we are saying math.power 2 raised to 0. This means 2 comma 0 means 2 raised to 0, and any number raised to 0, the answer is 1. Of type double means it will be 1.0. Okay. Then we have math.power 2 comma 1. A number raised to 1, answer is always the number. Okay, so it will be 2 or 2.0. We have to be a double data type, so answer will be 2.0. Math.power 2 raised to 2. This is 2 comma 2. 2 raised to 2 is 2 into 2. We know the answer is 4. Of data type double means answer will be 4.0. 2 comma 3. 2 into 2 into 2. 3 times, which is 8. And data type double, so 8.0. If you do math.power 2 comma 4 upon 5. Okay, now this is slightly tricky. So what is this 2 comma? Now we first have to evaluate what is 4 upon 5. 4 upon 5 in Java, both are integers, and integer division over here will give us 0. So it will be math.power 2 comma 0. And what is the number raised to 0? Answer is 1. So the answer will be 1.0 in this case of data type double. Now let us have a look at math.power 2 comma minus 2, which means 2 raised to minus 2. So mathematically this means 1 upon 2 raised to 2, which is 1 divided by 4.0. Note here it will do it in double. Okay, it will not say 1 upon 4, it will do 1 upon 4.0, and the answer will be 0.25 in this case. Okay, so that is math.power. Remember, the answer is a double. You have to take special care of raised to 0. And when they give you an integer number like this or a negative number like this. Okay, so please practice these and take care of choosing the correct answer. Moving on, after math.power, the next function is math.square root sqrt. So math.sqrt returns the square root of a positive number only. Okay, for negative numbers, it returns NaN, which means not a number. Okay, return data type, as I mentioned now, is going to be double for these 6 methods. And the syntax is math.square root x. It only takes one single number and it will give you the output of that square root of that single number. So if we say math.square root 4, what is the square root of 4? 2 into 2. So square root is 2, but the return data type is double. So the answer will be 2.0. Square root of 16.0, 4.0. Okay, and then if we try to find the math.square root of minus 16, the output is going to be NaN, which is not a number. Let's moving on now to the next method, which is math.ceil. cube root, and the method name is CBRT. Math.cbrt returns the cube root of both positive and negative numbers. Okay, return data type is always double, and the syntax is math.cbrt in bracket one parameter. It will take only one parameter as an input. If we say math.cbrt 8, now we know the cube root of 8. That means it is 2 into 2 into 2 gives us 8. So the cube root of 8 is 2, which is of double data type. It will be 2.0. Math.cube root of 27.03 and double data type 3.0. So for positive numbers, the cube root will return a positive answer. And if we try to find out the cube root of a negative number, for example, in this case, the cube root of minus 8, the answer will be a negative number minus 2.0. Okay, so you need to find out the value. You need to make sure that it is of double data type 2.0. And if it is a negative number, cube root will also be a negative number. Okay, so that is power, square root, and cube root. Now moving on to the ceil, CEIL, the ceil function. What does that return? Math.ceil returns the smallest value which is greater than or equal to the input. Okay, now this is confusing at first. We'll have a look. We'll clear this out. And the return data type is double. The syntax is math.ceil of one parameter, any one input value that you can give. Okay, now here you can refer to ceil as ceiling or looking up. Okay, the ceiling is always up, so you have to always look up. Going back to our number line, which is the y-axis, taken a set of positive numbers and a set of negative numbers. Now, what does it say? Smallest whole value which is greater than or equal to the input. Okay, so anything between 5 to 6 over here, or 5.01 to 6, will look up and it will give you 6. Okay, you have to keep looking up. Ceil means look up and give that. Remember, in round we were looking up or down, but in ceil it is always look up. Okay, so if I say math.ceil 5.5, looking up, what is the closest whole number that I find? I find 6, data type double, so 6.0. Another difference between math.round and math.ceil is round will always give you an integer value, whereas math.ceil will give you a double value. Okay, so it is 6.0. Math.ceil 5.9. 5.9 is somewhere over here. Looking up, the closest whole number it finds is 6. Data type is going to be double, so 6.0. For negative numbers, it is the same. You always look up. Okay, wherever your number, you draw the number line, put the number thing, and then look up. So if I say math.ceil minus 5.5, number is over here. Looking up, the number that I find, the closest whole number I find is minus 5, and has to be data type double. So the answer will be minus 5.0. Okay. Math.ceil minus 5.2, number is somewhere over here. In this range, looking up, we get minus 5.0. So looking at math.ceil minus 5, what do we say? Greater than or equal to the input. The whole number greater than or equal to the input. So for minus 5, it is on itself. So the number answer will be minus 5.0. Math.ceil minus 5.6, number is here. Looking up, answer will be minus 5.0 only. And same for minus 5.9 also. You will just look up always. And the answer will be minus 5.0. Okay, so please don't make a mistake in this. It becomes easier if you draw this vertical y-axis, place the number and then look up. Ceil means look up. Next method that we are looking at is math.floor. Floor means you have to look down. So math.floor will return the smallest value, which is moving on to math.floor. Now this will return the smallest value, which is lesser than or equal to the input. And in this case, we have to look at the floor. That means we have to look down. And the return data type is double. Okay, syntax is math.floor, pass any one value to it. Back to our number line. Okay, so set of positive numbers, set of negative numbers. For the positive numbers, we have to look down. Okay, whatever is the number between this range, we will look down. And so if we say math.floor 5.5, looking down, the number that we find is, whole number that we find is 5. Return data type double, so answer will be 5.0. Math.floor 5.9, up to this here, you have to look down. Answer will be 5.0. Okay. Negative numbers also, you have to look down only. Fine. So if I say math.floor minus 5.5, now looking down on the floor, I get minus 6.0 because it is a double. Floor of minus 5.2, same thing. Look down, you will find minus 6. Return data type should be double, hence we will write minus 6.0. Math.floor of minus 5, we are here looking down, lesser than or equal to. So the answer will be same, minus 5.0. Floor of minus 5.6, looking down, we get minus 6.0. Floor of minus 5.9 up to here, again we look down and we will get minus 6.0. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Math.ceil looks up, Math.floor looks down on the number line. Okay, so let us summarize. Math.round rounds the number up or down to the nearest integer and the return data type is int. Okay, so for example, math.round 5.6 because it is after 5.5, the cutoff, it will go up and the output will be 6 as an integer. Math.ceil always rounds the number up. Okay, ceil means look up, rounds the number to the nearest integer higher or equal to the input. And the return data type is double. So math.ceil of 5.6 will also be looking up. It will give you 6.0. Math.floor rounds the number to the nearest integer lower or equal to the input. Okay, so math.floor of 5.6 looking down will give me 5.0. Okay, this is round is up or down, ceil is up, floor is always down. Moving to the last method of the math class, which is math.random, returns a random number between 0 and 1. Between 0 and 1, you can only get decimal values. So the data type is double. And remember that it will give you 0.0, but never 1.0. So the highest value that can be returned by math.random is 0.99999, infinite, but never 1.0. Okay, fine. So syntax is math.random. This is the function which does not take, only function which does not take any parameter. You don't have to give it anything. It will always just give you a random number between 0 and 1. Okay. So suppose we have double r is equal to math.random, and do note math.random will give me a random number between 0 and 1 every time I run it. So suppose it gave me, in this case, when I run it, I got the value of r as 0.40 something. Okay. So now if I do int of r, okay, int is explicit data type conversion of this value returned by math.random, or I could also write int and then I'm saying math.random. So now r I have got a 0.4. Int, remember, will take only the integer part of that. So in this case, what is the integer part of this number? The integer part is only 0. Answer will be 0. Okay, so int is the typecast parameter, explicit conversion of changing something. So in this case, it will change whatever value you give, it will try and change it to an int. Now, if we do int r into 10, do note int is a unary operator. That means it has higher precedence than multiplication. Okay, we'll do a separate video on operator precedence, but unary operators, okay, have higher precedence than this multiplication also. So int of r will happen first. So in this case, int of r, what will it be? It will be 0. We know it will take only the integer value. So if I multiply it by 10 or multiply it by 100 or 1000, answer will again be 0 only. Okay, so now if I want the multiplication to happen before the data type conversion, I have to put the multiplication in a bracket like this. So I say r into 10. So what will that give me? 0.40 into 10 will be 4 point something. Okay, I'm multiplying by 10, so it will become 4 point something, and then I take int of that. So answer will be 4. Okay. That means it will give me a random number between 0 to 10, but never 10. Why am I saying this? Why will it give me a number between 0 to 10, but never 10? What is the lowest value that math.random can return? Lowest value is 0. Okay, imagine this is a 0. So 0 into 10 will be 0, int of that will be 0. What is the maximum value math.random can return? 0.99. What is 0.99 into 10? 9.99. int of 9.99 will be 9. Okay, so this can give me a random number between 0 to 10 excluding 10. Fine. Similarly, if I do into 20 with the bracket, it will give me a random number between 0 to 20 excluding 20. In this case, we will get an 8, because what will happen, r into 20, this into 20 will be what, 8 point something. Okay, 8 point, and integer of that will be 8. If we do like this, 1 plus int of r into 20, so this was giving me a random number between 0 to 20. If I add 1, it will give me a random number between 1 to 21. Okay, or between 1 to 20, and it will include 20 over here. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Math.random. Please practice Math.random questions. We will also take 1 or 2 questions for solving. But do note that explicit conversion has a higher priority than all your other operators. So if you want to do those first, you have to put them in bracket. Okay, and what does the int typecast operator do? It takes only the integer part of your value, whatever it is. If it is 5.5, it will take 5. If it is 5.999, int of that will also be 5. Okay, so that completes the math.random method and the 10 methods that we have. So now let us have a look at some sample questions. Okay, so let us have a look at some sample questions from specimen paper and past board papers. Okay, so how do we do output based question, and how do we convert a mathematical expression to a Java expression? So starting with this now, first one we say math.round 6.6. Now what did we say? Round will give us an integer. First thing, remember that it will give us an integer. Plus the cutoff is 0.5. So this is 6.6. So it will go up. So that will be a 7. Plus ceil means look up from 3.4. If I look up, okay, so if I had to draw it, okay, for you over here, this is my number line, the y-axis, and this is my x-axis. This is 3 and this is 4 on the number line. Fine. So 3.4 will be somewhere here. This is going to be 3.4. Okay. And looking up from 3.4, what will I get? I will get 4. And remember, only round is int, mam. Min, absolute, max is depend on the parameter. Everything else is going to be a double value. Okay. So 3.4, what will be the answer over here? Looking up, I will get 4.0. If we do 7 plus 4.0, Java will always convert everything to the same data type. The bigger data type is a double. 7 will be converted to 7.0. So 7.0 plus 4.0, answer will be 11.0. Okay. Next example. Okay, this is also from one of the past board papers. Now this is saying math.power 625. So if I convert this math.power 625 comma 1 by 2. Now this is 1 by 2, both are integers. Remember 1. So integer division of 1 by 2 in Java will be 0. Plus math.square root 144. What is the square root of 144? We know it is 12. But again, square root will return a double. So the answer will be 12.0. Power of 625 raised to 0. Any number raised to 0. Answer is 1. Data type is double. So this will be 1.0 plus 12.0. And answer will be 13.0. Okay, so do note this carefully. Anything you're given over here, divide it, but make sure that if they are integers, make them as integer division. Okay, and then take the answer. Okay, moving on here, math.square root. It's saying, so go one by one, square root. The inner function is, or the inner method is max. What is the maximum from 9 and 16? 16 is maximum. Both are integers. Output will be integer. So this is math.square root of 16. Now what is the square root of 16? 4. Square root returns double. So 4.0. Okay. Do it step by step. Please practice these questions. There's enough examples in past board papers and you would have the solution. So just check that you get them right. Okay. Moving on here. Now this says math.pow 25 comma 0.5. They have not given 1 by 2. They have given 0.5. Okay. So when they say 25 raised to 0.5, that means it is raised to a half, or it actually means square root of 25 over here. So which will be 5. Power returns a double, so it will be 5.0. Okay. And here they want floor of 4.2. Okay. Floor of 4.2, what do we say? We always look where? So if I have to move here, okay, and so if I again, floor means you have to look down. So this number is between 4 and 5. Okay, remember that this number is between 4 and 5. Looking down, you will look at 4 of type double. So answer will be 4.0. Final answer will be 9.0. Okay. Last two examples. So here we have range of values returned output by this particular method. Okay. Whenever they ask you for math.random, okay, how do we solve this? We first say the lowest value returned by math.random is what? 0.0. Okay. What is the highest value that can be returned? Is 0.999. Okay, infinite. Let us for simplicity just take it up to 0.99. Okay. So now, if we take 0 over here, okay, if we take 0 and then we try to solve this equation, we say int in bracket 0 multiplied by 10, okay, which will give us int of 0 multiplied by 10 is 0. So answer will be 0 as an integer. Okay, so the lowest value, because they have asked us a range. Range means low and high. Lowest value that we can get by this is a 0. What will be the highest value? Now, same thing, int. What's the highest value? We said 0.99. So we say 0.99 into 10. Okay, what is that? That is int of, what is 0.99 into 10? It will be 9.9. Okay, multiplying. What is int of that? Int means only take the integer part, and that will be 9. Okay, so if the range of values given by this will be any integer number and both include. That is how you will solve these math.random questions. Okay, let us just take one example. I've taken one which has everything in it, most of the things. So we are asking, the question is asking us to write the Java expression for a mathematical expression. Now this is how we write it in maths. In Java, we have to write it slightly different. Now this means 3 multiplied by 8. But in Java, we cannot just write it like that. We have to clearly say 3. Multiplication operator is this asterisk, 3 into 8. Its space is optional, but you have to say 3 into 8. Then followed by the plus sign. Now these bars mean absolute value of this number 45. Okay, many students miss this. This bar means it gives us the absolute value of 45. How do you find the absolute value? Using the Math.abs method. What parameter do we have to pass to it? Minus 45. This is how we will write, convert this part of the equation to a Java expression. Plus. What is this sign? The square root sign. Okay, how do we find out square root in Java? Using the math.sqrt method. The sqrt method needs one parameter, which is going to be this. What is this? A raised to 4. Now there are two ways of writing this. You could write it as A into A. I'll do both ways. So this one I'll do A into A into A into A multiplied 4 times. Okay. Plus of, what is this? 5 into b raised to 6. Now I could write it like this, b multiplied by b 6 times, or the better way is to do b raised to 6. We saw that the math.pow method, math.pow method, we give the base is 5, exponent is 6. We can give it like this and then close the math.square. Okay. And when they ask you to write the Java expression, you just need to write this. You do not need to write system.out.println or assign it to something. Nothing. Only the equation you have to write. Okay. So even this math dot a into a, what I could do is convert this to a math dot power POW a comma 4, and this would solve this equation. So that's it for now. Happy learning and see you in the next video.